Is it the first time you've done that gig that I saw you at?
Yeah, so I met Bella who runs it. She had done I used to run a gig and she had done it a couple of times. So then she reached out over summer about me going on to Hot Girl Comics Incorporated.
I mean, I was saying before, I was hyping you before. I absolutely loved your set, dude. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was fresh. It's stuff that, like I was saying, like I gig in Essex a lot, and you do hear a lot of the same old material over and over. New angles, don't get me wrong, but it was nice. It's a fresh perspective, something new, and like you had me genuinely chuckling. So
Thank you.
yeah, there's your props. I'll be a bastard from now on. But there's your hype, Lucy. So yeah, cheers for coming on. The reason for the pod is sort of your story. Um, how you got into comedy, why did you get into comedy, and yeah, sort of behind a bit of your life. So I will always start the same. I will start the same. How and why did you get into comedy, dude?
Yeah, well, I tend to have a breakdown once a year and usually take up some kind of insane hobby as a result of that. And a year ago that
Good.
happened with stand up. But yeah, it was something I had always, I guess, had on my mind. I ended up working in quite like a corporate field, and I always looked back and was like, I can't believe I didn't end up doing something more creative. So then last year was kind of at a bit of a low point, and I was like, okay, I need to find something else to focus on that'll make me feel positive about myself. And I actually just signed up to do a stand-up course, kind of thinking
Was
nothing
it
of it.
Ultra?
No, angel comedy.
Oh yeah, cool standard. 'Cause I feel like you don't sign up for Ultra. Ultra signs you up.
Yeah. Is that the one that you have to get like more people to join? And you,
Yeah.
yeah, hilarious. I've seen ads for it and I'm like, is this a stand-up pyramid scheme? It's
Yeah, dude, it really is. It's like we're looking for 30 funny people in your area, and it's like you look at it, it's like because I've spoken to so many people who've started from Ultra, and it's like, oh, inquire, you are now signed up for the 6 day course, 6 week, it's free, but you must sell this many tickets. It's like, oh shit, I'm now doing comedy, like, raw. But I've heard good things about Angel.
yeah, it was actually really good. I think the weird thing with stand-up is there's not that much you can teach. Like it was a nice basis and it was nice that you got feedback on things you were gonna say before you got up and said them on stage for the first time. And I think the best part was that you met other people who were starting out at the same time as you. So you kind of had like it can be a bit overwhelming, I think, maybe entering the London scene, but you had a couple of people you knew at the start, which made things a bit easier. But yeah, once I started doing it, I was just like, okay, this feels kind of natural. And then I just went really heavy into it, doing it
Yeah,
five, six times
hardcore.
a week for a while. So
So how many people were on your course?
I think there was probably 10 of us.
How many lasted till the end?
I think there's me and one other guy who are still doing it
It's now pure
consistently.
stubbornness now, isn't it, to win?
Yeah, yeah.
Like you check their Instagram every day. Like, have they dropped out yet? Have they gone into theatre instead? Fuck them. But
Yeah.
it's mad the job, but I think it's also what you want from comedy. Some people, I know a lot of corporate people, they'll do it just to get better at doing like speaking in public, speaking in front on a stage and shit.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that was most people out of the course, they were doing it more for purposes like that or to give themselves a bit of confidence. And there were some people who they tried it out and like they'll still come and watch me and support me at
Oh,
gigs,
that's
but they
good.
just decided after a while it wasn't for them either. So yeah, I guess there's a big difference between, I mean, also I guess after a while as a hobby, I feel like it kind of wears off pretty
Yeah.
quick, just getting up. And if it's not something you're going to invest a lot of time in and writing new material and trying to go places with it, I guess it's pretty easy to drop off. It's something you're doing maybe once or twice a month. So yeah, it depended on how seriously people took it as well, I guess.
It is, and the thing is, it's like you can't just be like, right, I've done that gig, or let me book another gig. You some of them you book like 3 6 months in advance.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so yeah, I'm not going to ask what you do in corporate. I'm not going to ask that, but I'm going to do this in an element from a corporate perspective. Do you try and treat comedy like a business then? Like you've got your Excel sheet, you've got all your data.
I'd say for a while I was running gigs, and I think it definitely came in handy having like a background like that. But actually, I actually stopped doing that after a while because I found that I was just running another business on the side and it was detracting from me performing, I felt.
Mm.
And yeah, then I've tried with the performance side of things to not get too Excel spreadsheet over it. Yeah, try to treat it a bit differently.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And so, what in the you said you've been gigging for about a year now. What like noticeable improvements have you noticed in your set?
I would say one big thing has been my delivery. Like if I would look back on old videos, even though I thought I was delivering things quite naturally, you just weren't. I think everybody puts on a bit of a front or a character, even if they don't realize it when they start out. And actually, I think I kind of searched around for a while, also maybe trying out different personas, different ways of speaking on stage. And actually, what I've settled on now is just pretty close to how I talk in normal life. And I find that has worked the best for me. So yeah, I'd say delivery is one big thing. I'd say with the material I was writing also, definitely once I started getting spots in clubs and with genuine audiences and you're kind of moving away from the open mic circuit, I started to find people laugh at very different things. Like the more relatable and relative you can make it, that's what people are going to connect with. Versus at an open mic, if you have a kind of edgy, outrageous joke, that's what people want to be shocked a little bit.
I challenge that 50% yes, 50% no in London. People don't. People. Some people like to be shocked, but some people also just play it very safe on the open mic because they're scared to cause offence.
Yeah,
And,
true.
but I mean, would you agree or disagree with this? That when you get off the open mic set, it becomes easier.
Yes, I would say. Well, I would say you have more consistency
Mm,
of what I tend people tend to laugh at, I think. So you know kind of if you're onto a winner. Whereas I think it can be so hard to judge on the open mic circuit whether your material is good or working or not because it can just vary so much from room to room.
mm.
Even sometimes now when I'm going to open mics to test out new stuff and whatever, there's sometimes it doesn't land and I'm like, oh, I kind of know this will work with a real audience. And it's whether you're gonna like push through it.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, it's tough on the open mic scene. It varies so much.
Yeah, yeah, completely, completely agree. It's like I've always said, I'd rather perform in front of one person who wants to be there than 10 other comedians waiting to get on.
Yeah.
Because then you're actually getting that raw live feedback. I mean, like, I know what type of comedian you are, but for the people, what type of comedian are you? You like deadpan, storyteller, one liner, observationalist.
Yeah, I think it's more of storytelling for me.
Mm,
And actually everything I talk about, it's obviously exaggerated, but it's all true. It all comes from something real. And yeah, it's that kind of I wanted to come across like someone's met me in a pub and I'm some mental woman telling them a crazy story.
I mean, did your comedy start off like that, or did you sort of find your calling in comedy a little bit?
I feel like weirdly, actually, when I started off, it was more storytelling and not doing it as well as I do it now, but definitely more in all rooted in real life experiences.
Mm,
And then for a while, I kind of tried out some other things, more observational things that were also for a while more made up. So trying to come up, oh, I have a funny premise, and then I'm gonna try to create something completely abstract. And I just found, for me anyway, that didn't work. It never landed as well. And the more I can come back to real life experiences that then maybe having an absurd twist at the end or something like that, yes, but the always rooted in something that's really happened to me, I think is the key for me.
yeah, I mean, like, I think when you write about stuff you know and your personal stuff, you're more passionate about it, and the jokes almost come easier because it's
Mhm.
something you do care about.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it comes across to the audience as well and it's more engaging and feels more genuine.
Mm.
I really, really admire people who can do, the observational stuff well, because I think it's you really have to have something to say, or it's just a little bit harder, I guess, to connect to people doing that. I think it's like such a huge skill in itself. Yeah.
Completely agree. So, being Scottish, I mean Irish. What are like? Have you gigged in Ireland at all?
Yeah, so I've gone back to Dublin to do gigs a couple of times now, and I found that was actually one of the big keys to me improving.
Okay.
Because the scene back in Dublin, it's brilliant back in Dublin, but it's a lot smaller. And I literally just sent videos around to some comedy clubs and was able to get spots in actual clubs back in Dublin. And that was a big part of helping me improve and giving me a bit more confidence too. And yeah, I think it's nice going back. I think in Dublin the difference as well is you tend to have a bit more consistency with audiences. And like yeah, the clubs are packed every night, and people are kind of really there to like laugh. And I don't know if it's the drink or whatever, maybe slightly warmer audiences. Where in London, I think what can be challenging is I just think it can rooms can be so different. Audiences can be so different. What they laugh at, what they get offended by. And yeah, tended to be a little bit more easygoing the gigs I did in Dublin.
Well, I know in particular, a lot of places in America, there's always the 2 pint minimum
Yeah.
at comedy nights because they want the crowd to be a little bit more loosened up. Like now, I'm not a drunk comic, but I will drink before, I'll drink on stage, and I'll drink after.
Hmm.
And but I see when you start on the open mic, everyone's there just drinking water and
Yeah.
things like that. So it must be my own delusion. Like I don't think I would still to this day go on stage sober.
Yeah, that was a weird one for me because I guess the first few times I did it was always drinking during it, honestly. And then it got to a point where I was like, God, if I'm doing this like 5 nights a week, and
Yeah,
then and also then there's sometimes I think I got into my head sometimes when I like really killed it, I'd look back and I was like, is that because I'd had a couple of drinks? Could I do that completely sober? And I didn't like that because then I was like, I don't want to have this like complex in my head about it. So I
yeah.
kind of tried a few months ago to start not only performing sober, but particularly for big things that mattered to me, challenging myself to do it sober and then drink afterwards if you want to. But it was more a thing for me if I didn't want this like attachment in my head of is it because I've had 2 pints or could I
Yeah.
deliver it anyway? Yeah,
And also drinking 5 times a week. What will break first, your liver or your bank account in London? Uh,
exactly.
uh, Believe it or not, people, London's not cheap. Uh, it can be a bit sort of extortionate there. So yeah, I mean that's interesting. So like the noticeable difference between there and Ireland is, you know, they're sort of not more up for a laugh, but more of a looser crowd, and like the audience sort of packs it out.
Yeah, I think so. And then also just a pretty nice scene back in Dublin of it's small, it's friendly. I guess maybe not as like competitive as London or something. Like everybody's maybe just from it being more tight knit, it's very friendly whenever I've gone back, also with other comedians, and very supportive and yeah, nice.
Yeah, London's quite saturated for comedians as well. Like it's bad.
Yeah.
So doing like I said, I'm not going to ask your job, but doing corporate as well. Do you have to sometimes be careful about the things you could say?
I mean, I think I'm kind of lucky in that the company I work for, I mean, everyone knows I do stand up. They've been very supportive of it. I obviously wouldn't be mentioning where I work or anything like that, but I've never felt too restricted in what I'm going to say. I guess also because it is coming from real experiences, most of the stuff I talk about.
Yeah.
Like I've never really felt like God, I want to get up tonight and make this huge political statement or something. It's more subtle if I do that. So I guess it's maybe because of my style of comedy as well. I yeah, don't worry as much.
I mean, do you find it hard to like like corporate hat off, comedy hat on?
No,
You
I
can like switch it on and off.
yeah. I mean, I'm pretty outrageous in work as well, and I
Okay,
do a lot.
calm. Yeah, so yeah, you got that. Yeah.
I do a lot of actually are like events for work and stuff, and it's been fun. I try to bring elements of like I host events in work, and we
Book
make
yourself.
yeah, like I feel like I've gotten better at doing that from the comedy and like vice versa. I also think because I did a lot of public speaking for work, it did help me a lot when I first started in comedy. If I never really had that like nerves about getting up and speaking on stage, and I think I already had a good way of like carrying myself, projecting my voice. So I think that helped me in the early stages as well. So it's kind of, I actually feel like both things have been of benefit to each other. And it's nice to have the two sides. I always say, like, if I like bomb one night or, you know, get like a horrible experience in a gong show or something, it's kind of nice to be like, well, I do have a real job if this doesn't work out.
This isn't paying the bills yet,
Yeah.
hopefully. Oh, okay, I've got one. So I spoke to a lot of Australian comedians, a lot of American comedians, and one thing I think that's weird, you're never taught comedy slang. Like, oh, you killed it, oh, I bombed tonight. It's quite universal somehow. Is it like, is the colloquial slang there in Ireland also? Or do they have different terminology for it?
No, they use the same terminology in Ireland as
But we're
well.
not taught that.
I can't remember. Yeah, it is weird, but I guess maybe yeah. Also, nobody. It was just kind of ingrained in me. I guess maybe we pick it up from like movie and TVs, and I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, we're actually really highly impressionable.
Yeah,
We absorb this and then we just start using it as well to start feeling like comedians also. Like, you know, when you don't even know what a real bomb is yet. And you
yeah,
start to, oh, I bombed, no one laughed. No, you've not been booed off yet. Like, that's the bomb, to be honest. I mean, like, so, you got your good job, you're killing it in comedy. What do you want out of comedy? Like, is there a penultimate list?
I mean, I guess I'd like to take it as far as it could go. I would love that someday I could transition into having a more creative career, whether that's straight up stand up comedy or actually more than anything, I'd love to have it as a route into writing. That would be really my dream. The kind of, yeah, TV show writing, something like that. But I try not to put like too much expectation on it when you're in. And I also think, and this is for anything I do, sometimes when you have a really like set expectation about something, it influences your decisions too much. And I've actually found with comedy, just being kind of open to everything has served me quite well so far. So
It's sort of just like going with the flow.
yeah, pretty
Like,
much.
is that the
I'd
most?
like to see as far as I can take it. I mean, um, I'm definitely not one of these people who's like, I don't want anything out of it. If I do anything, I want to see how far I can take it. And yeah,
Have there been any moments where you were like, oh, I'm gonna pack this in, or
100% yes. Yeah, I mean, I think particularly from gong shows,
okay,
that's
cool,
really affected me
yeah,
sometimes. And I don't know what it is about them, but there's an element of being like, I almost feel like I'm like a dancing monkey on stage or something, and just feeling like, God, that was so demeaning coming off. Um, yeah, there's
yeah.
something
What gong shows have you done?
Comedy Store
Okay,
and Beat the
that is
Crowd.
a bastard.
Yeah,
Like, Joe, what I mean, if you can last, I'd say 2 minutes in Comedy Store, it's equivalent to lasting five in Blackout or Big Belly or the others.
yeah. I got to nearly 3 minutes,
Mhm.
but the way I got gonged out was killed me because I had been doing this bit and it had been going so well everywhere I'd done it about my black friends trying to teach me how to dance at a party. And it's very much like me making fun of myself in this. But I don't know, the minute I brought up the concept of
Yeah,
like this, the audience were just like,
boom, boom,
I,
boom.
I think they were worried, like, oh, is she going to say something controversial or whatever? And I just super quickly got like two cards. Third one went up. The third one went up as I was impersonating my dancing. And it was like, I've never been able to watch it back because I'm impersonating me doing this like pathetic dancing and then you get off the stage. And it was going so well until then. And I was so annoyed. I was like, why did I pick, that bit to put in? But I think you learn with these things. And also I really believe with gong shows, there's certain formats that work with them and
Yeah,
certain ways to game it and stuff. And I still think a lot of the people who win them and do well in them are super talented, don't get me wrong. But I also think doing badly in them isn't a reflection on your comedy. There's loads of people I
One
know
million
who are,
percent, dude. 1 million
yeah.
percent agree with you on that. Like, okay, how do I say this as polite as possible? When I've been to a lot of gong shows, it seems to be one-liners or crowd workers. Okay, and I don't know why. I'm going to throw this out here. I don't see many women winning them, but I've seen women who have been the best on the set. Like, and I don't I don't know why, but yeah,
I mean, I think I've thought about this a lot because like they haven't gone particularly well for me. And then I'm like, I don't want to blame it on being a woman. Now, to be fair, I haven't done one in a while, and it's something I don't know why I still want to go back and
yeah,
get through it at some point. And I think the material I have now, I feel like could work. But it's interesting with the particularly at Beat the Blackout. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen a woman go through when I've been there either performing or watching other people, or maybe like once. And usually there's maybe two, three women out of like 20 something comics on the times I've been anyway.
yeah. I'm trying to think if I've seen a woman go through on. I've seen a couple go through in Big Belly, and I think I've seen one or two at Blackout, but never in the store.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering like what I was always wondering kind of why that was because I don't think that's consistent with the rest of the comedy scene
I,
now,
I
honestly.
agree.
And it was interesting. I did a gig in Dublin, and a woman came up to me after, and she was pretty pissed. And she was like, "You were great," blah, blah, blah. And she said something to me, and it like clicked with me. She said, "I'm so anxious every time a woman gets up on stage because I feel like there's so much pressure on them to
Hmm.
be funny that it makes me nervous, and then I don't enjoy it sometimes, or they have to work a lot harder to relax me." And she was
Yeah,
like, "You're so relaxed the minute you got up, I didn't feel that." And she was saying this to me, and I wonder if there's something in that also with the gong shows. If I think people make their mind up in the first couple of seconds when you're on stage with them sometimes, and I don't know if that's
I do know what you mean because say like, okay, I've never been by this statement. Like on most episodes, I defend women in comedy, but I feel like the crowd could be like, if a woman goes up and she's shit, they'll be like, "Oh, see, women aren't funny." And it's like, dude, like, but if a guy goes up and shit, they won't do that kind of a statement.
yeah.
And but with gong shows, I think my personal opinion on it is a massive ego pissing contest, and men are louder and more obnoxious. They bang
Yeah,
their chest harder,
I
and
agree. And I think
I
it
think
will,
that's what gong shows. Sorry, go on.
I think with gong shows, I mean, what I've observed with them also is the key is to just be so confident. I mean, and it's a skill in itself. It's the people who can get one card and stop and address it and
Yeah.
stop the other ones in their tracks. And I think, yeah, sometimes that does come more naturally to men. There's a lot of women who would be able to easily do that as well, who are
Oh,
like
killers,
fantastic.
absolute killers on the circuit.
But I think, yeah, I think it is maybe just an audience thing of it's a subconscious also. I don't think it's that people are sitting there like, oh, I hate female comics, but I think even sometimes for me, I get nervous at those things when I see a woman get on stage because I've seen it go badly so many times, and it's like a subconscious anxiety of like, oh God, I hope they're okay. Maybe that's what's
I
coming
mean,
across.
I've got. Well, I've never asked a female comedian on here before. Do you feel like every time you're on stage, you're an element of an ambassador, or is it
Mm,
fuck it, dude? I'm my own person. Like,
No, I've actually never felt like that. I think one of the only things that's really kind of the gong shows have been unusual for me. If they've been one of the only things where I've gotten kind of like pissed off watching women get I think so in my opinion at some of them unfairly treated versus men of like there's women I've seen get up and like it's not that they were incredible and I can understand why they were gonged off but I'm like you gave the man who went on before her like 2 extra minutes and he was like half as good as she was
yeah.
and it's the like comparison of I'm like why are they getting treated so much more harshly
Hmm.
and it's that's one been but that's one of the only situations where I've really seen that like in so much focus I think.
Okay. I mean, the one thing I can't remember where it is, and I wasn't a fan of this. They used a woman as their sort of like picture to get them to come into their comedy club, but she was like bent over. You could see down the cleavage and things,
Mm.
and I was like, dude, like, I don't think that's a good message to send out either.
No, I mean I did do one gig. It was outside of London, and I was the only female comic on the bill. Um, when I arrived, the host, someone was like, "Oh, she's a pro back in Ireland about me," and the host was like, "Does pro stand for prostitute?"
Brilliant.
To start off with. Then by the time he was introducing me, was pissed. Introduced me as yeah, the only woman who's going to be on tonight, and I'm backstage, and I can hear people in the crowd wolf whistling,
Oh,
cheering, and then a load of men just stood up and left when they announced
oh,
a few minutes from now.
right.
It was so extreme. It was like I was like, even I was like, I can't even be offended by this because this just feels like something out of a movie. It's so over the top. This kind
Yeah.
of like sexism.
Fuck. That's bad.
Um,
Like,
but yeah, it was
dude.
bizarre. Um, so yeah, there definitely are still things like that that happen out there. I think, yeah, luckily in London, I think also now there's a pretty big movement and a big effort made, I think, within London to make sure women are included on bills and um treated a bit better. But I mean, yeah, this shit is still happening.
I mean, it's weird because I've spoke to a lot of northern comics, and the ratio seems to be the same up there, 1 in 6.
Yeah, I feel like that probably is similar to here also.
I mean,
Um,
I'm not gonna lie. When there's no females on the bill, I always have my open ready, and
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, and it kills every time. I'm like, oh, I see there's no women on the bill, so you just got a fat guy with tits instead. Like, I know it's an easy cop out, but like, because like I said, gigging in Essex quite a bit. The hardship is that sometimes it is like mostly guys, and it's the sort of same stuff where you like to hear the new material and like new perspectives and stuff. So I think that does bode well. I mean, would you say there is like a type of sisterhood?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, definitely I think female comics look out for each other of a sense of maybe be careful here or there. And also I think with supporting each other with kind of getting work and getting put on things.
Mm.
I've made a lot of really good friends over the last year from comedy.
Oh,
Yeah.
I always say like you got to find your people. You got to find your like community, and then comedy gets so much more better.
Yeah,
And
100%. And I think it's you also really need at least one or two close friends in comedy. I mean, I think when I was going through a while of maybe not having found the right people yet, it's so hard because your friends who aren't doing it, it's like impossible to understand. I think how it feels to completely bomb on stage and what goes through your head after, and it's a very bizarre life and hobby you lead, and I think you have to have people around you can kind of trust who understand that.
but it's weird, like so, like say like the army, for example. People will be in the army for like 3 years, and their squadron they'll consider their brothers in comparison to people they've known for like 20, 30 years because you're in that same scenario together. It's almost the same with comedians. Like you might have only known them for a year, but you've got the same battle scars already almost.
Yeah, PTSD.
Yeah, 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 dude. Mostly the PTSD. Yeah,
I get to see people so vulnerable. Like, I mean,
yeah.
some of the people I'm close friends with, it's because, I've seen them bomb or vice versa. And then you're there kind of like comforting them after. It is such a weirdly, yeah, vulnerable state to see people in. I guess it does make you closer a lot quicker. And also, if I compare it to, you know, my friends outside of comedy who I struggle to meet up with once a month,
Yeah.
you can't get rid of the people you make friends with at comedy, because then you end up seeing them like 3, 4 times a week sometimes because
Yeah.
you're doing the same gig.
I,
So
I mean, I do love it when you look at a bill and you're like, oh shit, like James is on. Oh shit, Jacob's on the bill as well.
yeah,
Then
yeah.
you sort of get excited about that. Like, so yeah, people who are listening, just find your people. Then comedy becomes a lot more fun. To be honest, one I love asking Lucy is, what's the worst thing you've ever seen someone do on stage?
Ooh, this
You
is a
haven't got to do
tough one.
names or places, just pure event.
What's the worst thing I've ever seen someone do? I can't think of anything. I definitely am forgetting something really crazy that's happened. I actually think one of the most like awkward things I saw was actually the comedy course I did in the very beginning.
Right.
There was like a showcase at the end or whatever,
Mm.
and there
That
was
always goes really well. And then your second gig's your reality gig.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you're
yeah.
the, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, you're the same as everyone.
It wasn't our one. There was sorry, this is something I remember. I went to see someone else who had done a comedy course. I went
Right.
to see their showcase at the end to go and support them. It was like a friend who had started it. So I didn't know anyone in it. One person got up and their entire routine was about having sex with their dog. And I was like, this is your
I've been told
first
this story.
I was like, this is your first 5 minutes. So, from all of your life experiences, anything you could have possibly thought of, the first thing you wanted to talk about was 5 minutes about fucking your dog. It was
Brilliant.
just, I was sitting there like,
Did they visualize it as well? They like acted it out.
um, not that graphically, but
Right.
it was bizarre. It was a woman also. It was,
Why does
yeah,
that shock me more?
yeah,
I always thought bestiality was a male dominated sport.
yeah,
Can't lie. Can't lie. Like, I don't know why, but when I think of somebody, I don't think it's regularly, Lucy. By the way,
yeah.
but they're always a male in my head.
What?
They're always a male in my head. If you said
Ah,
to me
yeah, yeah,
bestiality, I'll
yeah.
be thinking, oh, it's a guy.
Yeah, that's why I was not to put a higher expectation on women, but I was
Yeah,
like, I did expect a little more of you.
yeah.
And what I just always come back to is their first 5 minutes. I kind of understand maybe if someone's been doing it for years, they're kind of having a breakdown. They're like, I'm just gonna
Standard.
throw some really new edgy shit at the wall. But your first, and also that you've done a 6 weeks. What I always think of is they did this 6 week comedy course where you have to test out your material
So
and people.
they kept this secret. They kept this hidden. Like, oh, I'm gonna save this.
Well, I kind of like to imagine that they've been like testing this out for the 6 weeks and people are just too awkward to tell them maybe don't talk about
Okay,
fucking
if that's
dog.
the case, that comedy coach needs a bit of a speaking to.
Yeah.
Can't lie to you. Like, you can't be encouraging that 6 weeks worth. I like to hope to think that she did other material for 6 weeks and she kept that. Be like, you know what? I I'm gonna surprise everyone. And this is my moment. I've been only putting out the tame shit right now. Here we go. Dog sex. Like,
Yeah. It was I don't know. I was just and I think because there was so many people's like friends and family there, a lot of people kind of like were like or like polite clapping. I
yeah.
was just like, what? And I was like, I can't wait for her to try this now
What
somewhere else
dog?
because she hasn't gotten a dead
Oh,
reaction to it. And then,
okay. Lucy, I know you haven't got the answer to this, but I've got questions, dude. Like, was it the family dog?
it was kind of her. I don't think a family dog, but
Was
it was
it
like
what
her
breed?
dog she owned. I can't remember it in this much detail. I've tried to block it out, but it was like a nice dog. It was like a like
A sexy
something
dog. Okay.
fluffy and yeah, yeah, of course. I
Okay.
mean,
A sexy dog. Okay. I don't know why I've gone to Labrador or Golden Retriever.
it was something like that, or like a cockapoo, or something. Yeah.
Okay. I love that, to be honest. Like, okay. Okay, so what's a joke that, when you first started out, you thought was a banger? You thought, oh, here we come. I'm the next big thing. You look back and you think, why the hell did I think that was funny?
I'm trying to remember. I think maybe more where I've made this mistake is like telling a story exactly as it was with no punchlines built in or anything. Like I had this like insanely convoluted story that I did at the start about my parents finding drugs in my room when I was younger, and it was like this just insane. It went on for like 4 minutes, but there was no hits in it or anything, and I thought it was so funny. And yeah, the watching back videos now, I'm like, why would anyone want to listen to that? That is actually just a crazy woman in a pub ranting
Uh,
at someone in a smoking area.
I'm trying to, I used to hide mine in my. I used to have these dog toys, teddies, and they had mouths. I used to hide the drugs in their mouths.
Oh,
Yeah,
smart. I
never,
wish I had thought of
yeah, never
that.
got discovered. To be honest, so I was quite happy with that. I mean, go. I'm not going back, but I'm showing my segue skills here. Um, with the women doing that interesting comedy on stage. What's your opinions on can you joke about anything?
My opinion is that I think it's kind of for me, it's like a scale of the more controversial the thing you want to talk about, the funnier you better make it.
Mm,
Like, I'm like, don't get up and do some shit half hearted pedophilia joke. You can get up and talk about whatever you want, but it better be funny.
mm.
That's my opinion.
Yeah,
Um, I think I hate when people just try to like. Also, sometimes I'm like, why bother? It's so I don't think anything is out of bounds, but I think you really have to make it funny, and it probably has to be kind of smart as well.
make sure the juice is worth the squeeze.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the theory like you can joke about anything, but you've got to also be prepared for the consequences.
Yeah.
And but that is pure freedom of speech. You can say whatever you want. They can say whatever they want, and as long as it creates a dialect. To be
Yeah. And
honest.
I also think it depends on the intention behind it as well. Like I've seen people get up and make poor jokes that haven't landed, but I can be like, okay, they're not a misogynist. That was just really badly judged.
Mm.
And then I've also seen people get up and do 5 minutes of unbelievably misogynistic material, and then it transpires that they're recently divorced and they're like, my bitch of a wife. And I'm like, that's not coming from a good place.
No.
I'm going to judge you for that a little bit.
Well, one interesting I got taught by God. This is a while back now. I want to say her name was Alison. I think it was like episode 40. Who runs Laughing Labia,
Mm-hmm.
and she introduced me to something I'd never thought of before. And I said, like, I've never thought of this. You've sort of changed my perspective. If there's a female on the bill, don't do misogyny shit because you're setting up a false expectation for the female comedian.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't do black jokes anyways, but if there was a black comedian, I wouldn't do a black joke
Yeah.
because you're setting up that false expectation. Then is when they come on after, you've already set a tone for the audience's expectation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I feel like misogyny and shit is just best to stay away from.
Yeah, I mean, on the other side of that, I think it can be you can use it to your advantage if someone's gotten up and said something misogynistic and you're the only woman on the bill. It gives you a lot of ammunition. I think
Hmm.
when you get up, then at the same time, if you can kind of riff
Oh,
off it or roast them a little bit.
oh yeah, if you do that, you can kill like absolutely kill. But the other one too was like then, but if you do want to do it, it's better doing it as you're the dickhead in it.
Yeah,
So then it's like
definitely.
the reverse hype.
I mean, it's always a case as well of like, are you punching up or are you punching down? And who is actually like the victim in the story? Like, I think it's also okay to talk about anything if ultimately you're self-deprecating. There's also like some people who I've seen sets and I'm like, you're really funny, and maybe nothing in like isolation, like one of your bits or jokes, I'd find that offensive, but there is like a pattern of every one of your bits is kind of punching down at a different group.
Hmm.
And after a while it just starts to make me be like, nah, I I don't like this. It's all about kind of balance as well, I think.
Yeah, and it's also like I said, like the agenda behind it, like the
Yeah.
motivation behind it, and but yeah, if all they do is hate, there's okay, this person's got a motive, but they might just be like, okay, I liked that bit, I liked that bit, oh, didn't like that bit, liked that bit, liked that bit. If there's like a general theme, then yeah, to be honest, I think it's sort of fine. So how do you like? Okay, you haven't got answers to this one, but I've heard like a couple of stories. I mean, 99%, 92% of comedians are absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't know why I say 92%, but have we like experienced any of like the bad 8%?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, I think like weirdly comedy attracts the best and the worst people by its nature. And yeah, there's I think nothing like terrible has happened to me or whatever. I mean, I talked about that gig I did outside of London that was yeah,
Yeah,
super misogynistic and whatever, but um I mean, I've just met some people who are I guess kind of like this narcissistic personalities of particularly when you do well coming up to you after and kind of being like, that was great, except and trying to make you doubt something, or
oh,
there's always like elements of this. Particularly I think sometimes from men towards women. But yeah, nothing too awful has happened to me yet. So I'll move
like I
on
say,
from
yeah, yeah.
that.
Oof,
Yeah, I'm
oof.
waiting.
Is it fingers crossed? Like, can't wait for it. I mean, because you're like a storyteller, sort of about your life and stuff. How has your crowd work progressed over your time on stage?
Yeah, I think because I was running a gig for a while, I did a lot of emceeing. So I like crowd work and I can do it, but I really enjoy just doing my material. So when I MC, I'll do a lot of crowd work. It's not something I feel the need at the moment to, and I think there's such a huge trend towards crowd work.
Yeah,
Um, Actually, like one of the times I was on in a club back in Dublin, I think nearly all the other acts that night were like 50% or more crowd work.
yeah.
Um, and I actually think sometimes it's like, is it like gets a bit exhausting for an audience if it's nice to have a mix then of people who just do straight up material and you need like a variation.
Need a mixed
Uh,
meal.
yeah, there's such a huge trend towards doing it now.
And
Um,
that's social media, isn't it? Like
for the
people looking at
clips.
it and seeing that as the expectation because like I always think with social media, one-liner comedians and crowd work comedians, like because we're now a weird society where we can't stay focused for more than 20 seconds. So
Hmm.
if you could have an absolute killer 3 minute bit, but how many people are going to sit there and watch a reel for 3 minutes?
Yeah.
So they've got
And
the. Go
so I also think people don't want to burn their material, so it's you can be releasing new crowdwork clips like every week. Whereas to get to a really good 3 minute bit, it
on.
takes like a long time of trying that out to perfect it.
Yeah. I mean, like the one thing I've sort of noticed about social media, and I like asking this question. So you did your own night. Okay, you get sent two people. One person, uh, you've got no experience of, you've heard nothing about, but they've got say 200,000 followers, and the other one sends you a 10-minute reel, and they're an absolute killer. Who would you book?
The person with the reel. I mean,
Really, really?
I would have
Okay.
changed, I would have changed my opinion on that. I think at first, I was like I would have been, yeah, like more drawn in by followers. I'm particularly, I mean, I guess there's a little bit of difference if you're trying to promote a gig and there's someone who can share it. But I do find now that I don't think people having a high amount of followers necessarily translates to engagement. So just because they're sharing something, it doesn't actually mean that's going to result in any additional ticket sales,
Yeah.
genuinely.
No, I 100
And
agree.
yeah, and also um I mean, I think it's such a different skill, even if they, do these kind of like skits or reels or whatever. I think that's a skill in itself to make
Yeah.
like genuinely funny online content. But it's a different skill to doing live stand-up comedy. And I've seen a few times people who have massive followings, and I've seen them perform, and then it's like, okay, clearly you haven't been doing this for that long, or things haven't translated, or it's such an interesting one, I think now, the Instagram followings versus then I've seen some people perform and it's like they've been doing this for over 10 years. They're some of the most like skilled, amazing people I've ever seen. And I looked them up on Instagram after and they have like 400 followers or
Yeah,
something. And you just can't judge it at all, I think.
it's mad that, isn't it? Like how some of them are like that. I mean, like we in the comedy world, how much to get to the next stage, then to the next stage, how much of it is being funny on stage to how marketable you are, how much of the promoter's job you can do.
I don't know. That's like $1 million question, I guess. Because it's so, I think what's so difficult now is knowing what to prioritize, in that it's really hard to be doing the circuit and trying to gig multiple times a week and creating online content
Yeah.
that's actually good and different and will go viral. And create and then running gigs and whatever. I will say running gigs for a while, it helped me a lot with networking and meeting people and having comedians sent my way. And I think that definitely gave me a bit of a boost and I found that useful. With the social media stuff, I also wonder how much longevity it has. Like I wonder if in even, you know, 2 years we'll be looking back like nobody does reels or that kind of content anymore.
Mm, yeah.
Um, but you don't know. It could still be a massive thing, and you'll be like, God, I should have focused on that instead of doing all these random gigs all over the place.
But I don't know. To me, it seems like Instagram has sort of nearly lasted the test of time. Because Facebook, I don't really post anything, but it's more when you start out to find gigs. Instagram seems to be the one everyone looks at now.
Instagram, yeah, I would say like Instagram as a concept, but I think these kind of reels, these like short form videos and the TikToks and stuff, I'm interested to see how long that lasts as a piece of media. Someone made a very interesting point to me the other day as well. If they said that they feel that in a few years it'll be kind of looked on like smoking is now, of like, that's not good for you. Why do you spend 8 hours a day scrolling these mindless
Oh,
videos? Like,
social
it's,
media is the devil, dude. Social
yeah,
media is the and the thing is that we're all whores for it.
yeah,
We're all whores for it. Like anyone who says they don't care about how many likes they get on a post and things like that, well, you wouldn't post then. Like
exactly.
we all care. We all care
Yeah,
about it, and fundamentally, we all want to be liked. Like we'll get haters, people disagree with stuff, but at the core of it, everyone just wants to be liked and stuff and followed and like admiration. It's the dopamine hit.
yeah, and I think it's hard also. There's so much comparison, and particularly in comedy. I mean, you end up you're following hundreds of other comedians, and then every day seeing what other people are doing and comparing yourself and being like, should I be doing that? Should I be doing that? And that's one thing I've really tried to stop doing. And because I don't know, you see people posting things or you see like one clip and you're like, they must be killing it, but you're not seeing all the other gigs they do that week and how they've gone. You're not seeing, maybe you're seeing they're getting great opportunities. You're like, it's so difficult to compare. You're seeing such a small part of things.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
but I think it can be really, really hard in comedy having to consume constantly what everybody else is doing all throughout the day, and it makes you feel like you're behind.
but then isn't that social media in general? Now I'm about to go into a subject I know nothing on the matter, but like Instagram models, like do you know what I mean? They Photoshop themselves to hell to create this like unimaginable, they'll say this unachievable, like physique, unachievable lifestyle, and it's like, look how fantastic I am, and it makes you have that element of shitness.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it is with everything. I mean, I think it's hard with something that you're maybe doing potentially as a job or multiple nights a week or whatever. Like, you don't have, I guess, the same like direct comparison of like, I don't have to watch videos of other people in meetings being like, that's so smart. I wish I had said that today. So it's, yeah, I guess it is kind of the same as like the way it can affect people's body image and stuff like that. But it's definitely, it's something even with newer comedians. Like a few people have said to me, it's one of the reasons they stopped doing it, because they were like, I just found it so overwhelming comparing myself to what other people were doing. And it's definitely, I would say, terrible reason to stop doing comedy because, yeah.
I think part of that is because I suffer from that heavily because you hear your own material every single day.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, I'm nowhere near as funny as these other people. Then you go on stage and you kill it. But as you're hearing stuff for the first time, you're like, that's brilliant, that's brilliant. But you're hoping that they think the same about your stuff.
Yeah. And you know, like one of the times I actually got into one of the ruts where I was like, I don't think I'm funny and I don't know if I can do this, was it was when I was running a weekly night. And I found I was performing nearly to the same. It was like a lot of my friends were like on the circuit, or the same kind of comedians coming a lot of the weeks. I was performing at their gigs, and I found I was performing nearly to the same room of people
Yeah.
again and again and again. And then, of course, your material does stop being funny because
Yeah. Is
everyone.
that healthy?
No, I think that was got me into such a rut. And also, I know there's this thing. I don't know what your opinion on this is, but you're told, get as many reps in as possible, blah, blah, blah. And it is so important. The more time you have on stage, the better and the more comfortable you become. But I was doing it consistently, like 4 or 5 times a week, and I've tried to cut it down a bit now, and I find it's better. Like I don't know. I think doing things, unless you're able to find like really different rooms and you're getting different experiences, but particularly if you find yourself performing to the same room of people again and again, it's like the definition of madness, doing things again and again
Oh,
and expecting a different reaction, and it will send you
a
crazy.
100%. Well, I know they say at the beginning, and I had the same theory. Play as many gigs as possible, play every room as possible. I've changed my mindset on this to make sure every room you do has a cost benefit analysis.
Yeah.
Like you can do the same room every single Wednesday, every Tuesday, but unless you're not learning something from that room, then you are then wasting time.
Yeah, totally. And it's also a danger of um starting to, I don't know, getting sucked into, I guess, always performing in a room you'll do well in.
Yeah,
So it's like
I'm yet to
the
find
same
that
thing.
dude, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. But like also I think not, I don't know, yeah, making sure you do get different reactions from crowds of different demographics in different areas, and particularly if you're aiming for being on the club circuit, you need to
yeah,
find material that can work for most people,
yeah.
I
You're
guess.
quite a universal comedian.
Yeah, I think it's not necessarily well, it was something that I kind of challenged myself to do a little bit over the summer of, can I find at least some material that I just feel like hits with everyone.
Yeah.
And that was something I kind of, but I did it. I think it came kind of naturally in the end because it was just from personal experiences. But um, I definitely find at least having something to open with
Mm.
that can do that. It's like brought down my nerves a lot of, okay, I kind of know what I open with now. It always seems to, and it's a bit of a equalizer. I find it brings in men,
Yeah,
women, all sides of the room. So that's relaxed me a lot, I
yeah.
think, when I get
Do
on
you always do
stage.
the same open?
Yeah, I do about the well, for the last couple of months I've been doing about how Dublin now has highest rates of cocaine
Yeah,
usage in
yeah,
Europe.
yeah. What's the biggest expo? Dude, I remember your set. I remember because I guess it's everyone's going to say Guinness
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
whiskey, something like that, and then yeah,
And I find it's so funny for some reason bringing up Coke. It's like you bring in, I guess people maybe have a certain perception when I come on stage of like I'm a woman and I quite feminine or whatever. So you kind of already have a certain demographic of people on your side. And then I think bringing up a topic like that, it like subverts expectations a little bit and brings in
yeah, I
like
get that.
jokes and whatever. And then it's kind of like, oh, we don't actually know where she's going to go with this. And I just find it's a bit of an equalizer. Like it neutralizes. That's how I've felt anyway. It kind of neutralizes a crowd and their expectations of you a bit. What I do as my opener, and yeah, I
Yeah,
found that
I
very
mean, maybe
funny.
that's why you were my favorite on the night because I mean, like it was called Hot Girls Topic. I was expecting a lot of it to be about, do you know what I mean, like being a good-looking female in comedy, that sort of stuff. But your stuff was so unexpected. I think
Yeah,
that's
that's what I
what
kind of aim
captivated
to
it.
do. Yeah, can you like subvert people's expectations of you a little bit? That's what I love doing. That and also what I love doing is I love setting up bits. Like I'm going to talk about them in a kind of way you'd expect a woman to, or would be the stereotype, and then just sharp turn right of like, oh God, what? uh, I that's like my favorite way of writing. Also,
Oh, so like my favorite film was a misdirection comedy.
yeah,
That's 100% my. But the problem is some people can't see the misdirection. That might be me needing to get better, or maybe be doing a topic where even if it's a misdirection, it's actually then punching down at myself. I might need to do it better. But I think no comedian is the finished article. Everyone, every comedian is on a joke. Like, there's no such thing as the perfect joke. Like
no,
every joke always needs work, and you'll think of a joke you did a year ago, and you're like, oh raw, like oh cool, let's how have I never thought of this tag before?
yeah. I like coming back to stuff sometimes, and also weirdly, sometimes I find I can be doing something for ages and it really works, and then just one day it stops, and I don't really know why, and you have to kind of leave it and then come back to it a few months later.
Yeah.
I still haven't figured out why that happens, but
Yeah. So okay, go on. I love asking this question. What's been your favourite moment in comedy? I don't really care about that bit, Lucy. Got to be honest. The bit I care about the most is what time have you bombed the hardest?
um, the time I guess what I would feel with the time bombing the hardest was probably beat the blackout because that was like worse for me.
Hmm.
But it wasn't actually that bad. I think the time I bombed the hardest was it was actually like it was the first time I bombed and it was at like an open mic. But I had been on a bit of a high for my last couple of gigs. I
Oh, you
was
got
like,
snapped back to reality a little bit.
yeah, but I also it was such a mistake. The first two people who got up, like they weren't great, but I got up and took the piss out of them. Didn't go down well, and then I proceeded to completely bomb, and it was just like, it was so awful after. Well, I got what I deserved, basically karma. But I was so embarrassed. That's still something I look back on like, oh yeah, and I
And
felt so bad too.
but you learn more in bombing than you do when you're doing well. So go on then. I'll be nice. What was your favourite moment?
I think probably the first time I performed at a club back in Dublin at the International, because this is somewhere like I would have gone to watch comedy when I was
Yeah.
younger, never knowing that I would do it. And no one from back home had seen me perform yet or anything, and it was just a moment where you were kind of like, oh, even if this ended here, I finally have something I can be like, it's very cool. I got to do this. Um, so yeah, I think even though it wasn't necessarily like my best gig or anything like that, it was just a nice moment. Yeah,
Yeah, a little bit like, oh shit, I'm doing this.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I love that. I'll end it. I'll end it with this one, Lucy. I always end it as the last one. So someone comes up to you. They've never done comedy before. They're like, Lucy, talk to me. Uh, I want to do stand up. I need some. Can you give me some advice? And you can't say just do it.
What would I tell them? I can't say just do it.
No.
I actually, I would say, try to think of why you want to do it and what you want to get out of it
Okay.
before you get on stage. Is it to build your confidence? Is it that you want to make people laugh? Is it that you want to be whatever? I think if you kind of have what do you want to get out of it and you keep that in mind, um, then you'll probably have a positive experience.
And if you don't, it doesn't matter anyways because no one gives a shit.
No. And honestly, it's a pretty weird thing to get into. You might be better off.
Yeah, it is. Like, there's no. I think they said, well, so a lot of comedians are messed up. Who decides? I mean, like, I decided at the age of 33. Oh, sorry, let me try comedy. Like everyone starts at like I hate. Okay, I hate comedians who are happy and they start comedy because they like to make people laugh. No, I want you to be a twisted fuck. I want
Yeah.
you to have battle scars. Do you know what I mean? Don't you?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
you need to. I love when people start comedy from the darkest moment in their life. It was like either I'm going to jump off the bridge or I'm going to go do some stand up.
Yeah.
And thank God they chose the stand up because I always consider it cheap man's therapy.
Yeah. I mean, I also, this is what I mean about kind of like setting your expectations. What do you want to get out of it? It's like, is it a thing for you? Is it an achievement just to get on stage once and do it? It's just proving to yourself that you could do it once. Because then if you got on stage, you've achieved it. Is it that you want to take it further? Um, it doesn't have to be, I don't know, that you end up being a psycho like us doing it every night of the
Yeah,
week. It's
yeah.
for a lot of people, I think that's what's like interesting about people I saw doing the course or whatever. For some of them, it was just such a thing to get on stage and do it in front of people. Like that's all they wanted to get out of it, and that's like a cool experience for them that they did it. And it doesn't have to be anything more than that.
No, there's no right or wrong answer why you
Yeah,
want to do it. Like,
yeah.
but I would recommend everyone just do it once. Just try it once. See how it
Don't know
goes.
about everyone, but yeah.
Yeah,
No, I'm joking.
it's not. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is not for everyone. And I've always got to say, if you just because you're the funniest in the group doesn't mean you could be funny on stage.
Yeah, sometimes they're the people who are the worst ones to put on stage because it is yeah, it's different.
Yeah. I mean, how many
And
times have you heard someone in the pub go when you've done a pub gig? Oh, I could be a comedian.
yeah.
Yeah, dude, go try it. No,
Yeah.
no, no, no,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
go try it. I'm not saying to put your money where your mouth is, dude, but just like, like, fuck it. Like, get on stage and do it. Like, is it courage or delusion?
Yeah.
Uh,
And I think also it's, I mean, the other thing is it actually doesn't matter how your first gig goes. Like there's some people I've seen months apart and it's like they're completely, I mean, I think your first gig you can't judge anything off of.
yeah,
Um, there's some people who are brilliant their first gig and then they never improve from that. There's some
yeah,
people who will bomb their first gig and end up being huge. So
yeah.
it's
I didn't get my first laugh till my fourth gig.
yeah,
Like, like I think I've got one now, but just the one. Thank God.
yeah,
It's like we're retired on that. But like, yeah, it takes a while. Like, to actually get because I was always the funniest in the pub, and I had to learn how to sort of transition that a little bit.
yeah.
But yeah, that's it was. Lucy, dude, it's been absolutely lovely having you on, man.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on. Yeah, as I said, I'm only a year in, so I'll probably look back on this one day and be like, I was talking some absolute shite, but
Uh, the reason why I wanted to do this podcast, like, look, I've had some absolute, theatre sellout people on here, but my favourite ones are the ones who have been doing it for 6 months to a year to 2 years. Because look, if I was in a war, I don't know why I've quoted war twice here. It must be because you're from Northern Ireland. I don't know, but it's if I was to go to a war zone, I wouldn't want to talk to the general. I would want to talk to the foot soldier, the person who's in the trench, and that is the reality. What you're going to get. Do you know what I mean? I could talk to Jimmy Carr. Oh, how's stand up on the open mic circuit? He wouldn't fucking know. He hasn't done it for 15 years. Like, he's talking to the people who are going through it right now, who are currently earning their scars.
I also think the open mic circuit, there is such an amazing TV show to be written based on the open mic circuit one day. Like, it is the most interesting ecosystem of people you will ever come across. It's such an interesting experience to be in it, and there's yeah,
Well, you want to be a writer one day. Do like five amateur comedians trying to make it. One's a character comedian. He's delusional. One, I don't know, is edge lord.
yeah.
The
I
one
already
who
have my concept I'm working on.
the
Don't
one who they've
worry.
got no faith in is the one who ends up making it. I'm gonna stop talking now, Joe. I'm writing this one down. So
Yeah,
Joe, I've never deleted a bit in my history. That's getting deleted. Oh, that's my. There you go. There's my off to the BBC. Love it. Lucy, dude, lovely having you on. And guys, thank you ever so much for watching.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye, everyone. Bye.